Hello everyone, I'm Pauline, I'm an older trans woman and I'm part of the Pride in Ageing group at the LGBT Foundation. And together with Mindy and Pam, the three of us had a look at what steps we could take to put together a package for the end of life for older LGBT people.
Hi, and my name's Mindy and I'm an old lesbian. I just love saying that. The three of us got together to talk about this because we recognised that life goes by at a phenomenal pace and there's only one guaranteed destination. And we began to think about how, especially as LGBT folk, it might be a bit different to what it is for the straight world. Things like you're more likely to be childless, more likely to have lost contact with your family, more likely to live in a town that you weren't born and brought up in. So all those things put you at risk because there are not the obvious people to come in and deal with your life when you're no longer in it.
One observation that we made, the three of us, Pam, Mindy and myself, during our discussions was that when we were younger people, being who we wanted to be, in many cases, was illegal, or if not illegal, it was frowned upon. And many LGBT people of our generation, and we're all in our 70s now, were ostracised by our families, and this led to other issues. And yes, we've created, as we fought for our rights as a society, so we've got equal marriage rights and other rights now, and we don't know what will happen in the future. And what led us into this end of life discussion was, how can we plan for something that is inevitable and which we're closer to than someone who is in their 30s?
Yes, from our discussions, what we realised was that we needed to face the facts. And I began to think about, well, how many ways are there of dying? You know, you can get shot by a jealous lover's boyfriend or whatever. There's all that kind of stuff. But mainly it's organ failure, infection, suicide, an accident or crime. It could be one of those things. And what I also found from doing a bit of research was that typically people get about 45 hours notice, if at all. Well, if you think about it, that last 45 hours of your life, you don't want to be wasting that trying to work out how to make sure people have got passwords to get into your digital legacy or sort out your bank accounts or your house insurance or your cats. So it makes sense to think a bit further ahead, even if you are really, really young, because with accidents included, nobody knows really how long they've got. So the thing that came out of the discussions that the three of us had was the idea of one single point of access for the person who would be dealing with your stuff when you're not there. Recognising that, 45 hours isn't long enough to sort it, start early. Start when it doesn't matter. Start when it's irrelevant and theoretical and a bit of a laugh. And everyone's box could be different. You might have the songs you want at your funeral. You might have stuff like your organ donor card. You might have things about who should get what of your belongings. You might want a different person to sort out your digital legacy from the photographs or your books or your music or your clothes. All the different bits of you and all the legal stuff that you have to have. For example, your lasting power of attorney, that is a good idea. I haven't got around to doing mine yet, but I am going to, because that's the first step. We thought that everyone's life box would be different. You might want to put in envelopes with messages to particular people. You might want to direct people. I think the key thing would be, what do you want to have happen at your funeral? If you want people marching up Pennygent singing on Ilkley Moor Bar Tap, put it in your box. That way everyone can be pissed off with you for being unreasonable rather than arguing with your nearest and dearest over what really should happen. It's about taking control at the end of the day.
Mindy, I think you missed something. One of the key things that everyone has to have is a will. That has to be in there, together with the power of attorney, and as you said, your wish list for your funeral celebration.
Yes, we didn't just do this on our own. There were other people involved. There was Lawrie from the Pride in Ageing team at LGBT Foundation and Siobhan from St Anne's Hospice. St Anne's Hospice, by the way, also do a will writing service, which was great. We got ours done through them. So we handed over our work, our flurry of ideas and our creativity over to Lawrie, and he made sense of it. Here's Lawrie.
So yes, my name's Lawrie, my pronouns are he and him, and I'm the Pride and Ageing Manager at LGBT Foundation. And I'm here with...
Hi, my name's Siobhan, pronouns are she, her, and I'm from St Anne's Hospice.
So Siobhan, how did we end up at LGBT Foundation working with you and talking about LGBTQ plus and end-of-life care?
I was very fortunate in being appointed a 12-month scoping project for Borough of Manchester to have a look at palliative and end-of-life care provisions for the LGBT community. And luckily we were able to team up with the LGBT Foundation, especially Pride in Ageing, to get everyone's thoughts on the matter in terms of healthcare, but especially with regards to palliative and end-of-life care, which has been very insightful for the project.
And it really took off, didn't it? I mean, as Pauline and Mindy have said, like, group members were taking this away and developing ideas at home and, you know, linking up over Zoom to talk about this. It really took off, didn't it, in a way that we could never have expected.
Absolutely. I think it was more of a point that, like Pauline, Mindy and Pam, it's so important, especially for the LGBTQ plus community. Like you said, that might be estranged from the family. It's just safeguarding, empowering the community and safeguarding their lives really and who they are, as opposed to potential distressing outcomes from not having these things in place.
And it's great when we've got so many ideas coming back to us, isn't it? Because the way we work is we like to co-design things, so we'd much rather work with communities to do things than try and design things without knowing whether it's something that's going to suit that particular community. So to have so many ideas in the room and to be formulating this idea about a box was just... you could feel the excitement in the air, couldn't you, at that time?
Absolutely. Well, it wasn't our project. It's Mindy's, Pauline's and Pam's project really. Luckily we were fortunate enough to be part of it, and it was very well timed for my project.
Absolutely. So I think the next stage we went shopping, didn't we? Because we had this idea and we needed to get all the materials together for people to make and design their boxes, and we had to find a nice box, didn't we? We didn't just want any old box lying around someone's home.
No.
So we found these really, really nice kind of balsa wood boxes with a nice latch. We got together loads of wrapping paper and design materials. We got together loads of information, and we took it all along to a pilot session, didn't we?
We did, and quite a few members came and really enjoyed it. Some brilliant boxes came out of that pilot session, and lots of engagement and conversations around, positive conversations about death and dying.
Absolutely, and so one of the people who was there was Tony, part of the Pride and Ageing group. So Tony, it would be great to hear your thoughts on what you made of that session.
Hello, my name is Tony. I'm a gay man and a member of the Pride and Ageing group. I was in a relationship for 31 years, and my partner died when he was 54. And this happened 2 days after being notified that he had cancer. So you never know when death is going to happen and whether you're prepared or not. So I was quite interested in going along to one of the sessions that Pride and Ageing had organised, which was the Box of Me, which we held in the town centre. My current partner is Norman. His partner previous partner was for 43 years, and it's quite a traumatic experience sometimes when you don't get support when death happens. Nobody from my family came to the funeral and never contacted me ever since. So these difficult things, you need support. Together we went along to the session, and it was great to see this box where you can add your photographs, your will, which is very important to have, and your power of attorney, and put your documents all in one place. It gave us a lot of reassurance really to do this, because we both had bad experiences, and to think forward it will be much more positive.
One of the things that when Mindy, Pam and myself were talking, that sort of came out of nowhere in a sense, was we had some creative thoughts. I said to them, right, I'm going to write a poem about end of life, but I'm going to call it End of Life, a Celebration. And I'll work on that and I'll send it to you and you let me know what you think. And then Mindy said...
Yeah, I'm a visual thinker, and I was trying to picture this in my head about how you explain the journey. My first thought was waterfalls tumbling down a hillside. Then I realised that actually it's the other way around. Think about the River Nile, the mountains of the moon, there are clouds, it's raining, that rain becomes the river. The river is a one straight thing until the delta, and then it begins to spread out, and then you have all the different paths through it. Nonetheless, all of those paths through the delta end up in the same place, which is the Mediterranean. So I used that to make a graphic. I tried drawing it first, but then I did it with sewing, which was rather fun. And I think that was one of the things that we got out of it being a group endeavour, was that we had fun and creativity and new ideas, and it didn't feel so awful. I wouldn't have done the craft work that I did on my own. I don't know if Pauline would have written the poem on her own. Getting together with people to move this forward, to think about what matters to you. What would be in your box? What do you need to tell people to do or ask people about or share? That's what you need to think about. And if you can get together with a group of people to do it, that would be better.
Totally agree. And I would say that for me, because my creative skill is playing with words, is that it provoked me into writing something that I felt encompassed what all of our LGBT community feels, and some of the steps that we're frightened of taking, which actually, if we do take them, we will feel, as Tony referred to in his previous bit, it will become really important.
So Pauline, I think now is the point at which you should read out loud your poem.
This was written last year in August 2022 when we were starting this whole project. It's called End of Life, a Celebration. Whether you are trans like me, a gay man, lesbian or bisexual, intersex or gender fluid, we all deserve respect after living full lives. Many of us are older now. We have all experienced hate and discrimination. Often being who we are was illegal. Yet we've come through all of that, battered and bruised, with our heads held high, happy with who we are. All of us have left impressions on others. Yes, we are different, but the same. We are only human. We want to spend our end days, our passing, to be as we want, with dignity and respect. Whether it's at home, hospital, hospice, or in a care home, we should all be prepared with a will, power of attorney, a memory box, and our own wishes for our funeral service. No discrimination or insults or misgendering in those final times. Many of us have no immediate family, no partner, no relatives who accept us. Being prepared is best. We all come to the end of life and die. Our hope is that our friends and relatives will enable us to spend the end of our life with dignity, respect and no pain, and that our friends and family can celebrate our full lives at our funeral with joy.
That is beautiful.
That poem was so powerful, and there might be, a whole range of people listening to this and thinking, this issue is actually affecting me or could potentially be affecting me at the moment. So, Siobhan, just thinking, if I'm kind of a health professional listening to this, what kind of action can I take?
If you've got the internet, absolutely wonderful. If you either sign yourself up to a local LGBT inclusive training for health and social care professionals, or both the LGBT Foundation and Hospice are still working in collaboration to deliver LGBT palliative and end-of-life care training, so check out either website for that.
And if you're somebody who's a community member listening to this and thinking, what can I do? So the Box of Me sessions, we'll be trying to run those regularly now at LGBT Foundation, so do check our website and our events pages to see when the next one might be coming up. You can also reach out to Pride and Ageing at prideandaging@lgbt.foundation, or you can of course ring our helpline at any time. And I'm just thinking as well, Siobhan, about people who are currently accessing healthcare services. What should they be expecting in terms of the duty of care from healthcare professionals that they might be interacting with?
All health and social care professionals have a duty of care to treat people without discrimination. So if you have any issues at all, it may not be intentional, but still there'll be a complaints procedure in place. I would highly recommend that you do go through that complaints procedure, because at the moment healthcare professionals, in terms of education, it's still very slow at the moment. So the more we kick off about it, the more people are going to have to listen and get this essential training out there.
And from my perspective as well, anyone who receives homophobic abuse or transphobic abuse or biphobic abuse in any situations, it could be, patients, like other patients in centres that you're interacting with. If you can and you do feel like you're able to report it, then do look for your local hate crime reporting centre, for example. LGBT Foundation is one of those. So yeah, definitely do take action.